Hi there, my name's Ron Myers, and today it's my pleasure to introduce Richard Gibbons. Richard is the founder of Boost My Customers, who's specialising in helping aesthetic and beauty clinics to get 2 to 3 bookings a day with the aesthetic client engine. I actually spoke to Richard in lockdown, actually earlier on this year. I wanted to catch up with him again as he's been working with more and more clinics in our sector to help them attract new clients via Facebook advertising. So Richard, thanks for joining me again today. And I wanted to focus particularly on your experience with clinics offering HydraFacial, because it's in my mind, this is probably one of the easier treatments to promote using Facebook ads. So in your view, Richard, what's the #1 mistake that these clinics make when trying to use Facebook ads for HydraFacial?
I think there's probably a few. I mean, there's lots of clinics people are mistakes clinics are making. I think the main one is the mindset behind the Facebook ads. So I think so many clinics, if they're brand new to say paid advertising, even if that's Google, Facebook, Instagram, they're in the mindset of they're used to word of mouth, referrals, and really warm people coming through where they know they can pitch, oh, great, a HydraFacial pack of 4 because their friend had it and they're really warmed up. Whereas on Facebook, Instagram, these people don't yet know, like, or trust you. So it's really having that mindset of, gosh, your end goal is to say, sell that pack of 4 HydraFacials. But actually, if you're going out from the get-go and just being really pushy, salesy, buy our package of 4, it's really not going to work as well. So it's really coming in with like an intro offer. It doesn't have to be a discount, but it's saying, come in and try your first platinum HydraFacial for this much money. Getting them in the door that way, rather than pushing their big packages. Because when you get someone in for a little bit, they're going to buy a buyer as a buyer as a buyer. And if you're a good clinic, you're doing what you're doing. Obviously, HydraFacial have an awesome lifetime value. So it's just getting people in for that intro kind of session, rather than pushing the big, broad kind of golden nugget at the end.
I think that makes a lot of sense. So, I mean, obviously, a lot of people do try Facebook advertising themselves, and in fact, a lot actually that I've heard from as well go, yeah, Facebook advertising, I've tried that, and it doesn't work. So, what do you kind of say to that? Because obviously, you know, you obviously provide a service around Facebook advertising.
Yes, I think it's probably the same thing. Like, you can go to a restaurant, have a really bad steakhouse and go, oh, all steakhouses are terrible. This was a rubbery steak, blah, blah, blah. But actually, Facebook ads is such a broad topic that most people kind of see Facebook ads, they watch a YouTube video and they do it really cheaply. They press the boost button on Facebook, which never, ever press that button. They spend £100 and all they get from Facebook is a bill saying, you reached 20,000 people, you got 14 clicks. They don't know how much money they've made, their cost per acquisition, if they've even had any. So I think the biggest thing is knowing if you're going to do it, spend a month or 2 actually building the foundations rather than just generating leads. Because again, anyone can generate leads. You can go on YouTube, how to generate leads on Facebook. But at the end of the day, we don't want leads as a business. We want actual paying clients coming into our clinics. So I think it's just the mistake of thinking leads are the solution to your business. Whereas actually, if you haven't got your back-end systems, if you're not doing your email marketing, text follow-up, voicemail dropped, and the whole ecosystem, then all you're going to end up is a bill from Facebook, disgruntled clients who you didn't get back to them in time, they didn't get the information, and then you're left with thinking, gosh, Facebook ads don't work. And we literally hear from 2 or 3 clinics a day who we speak to who have tried Facebook ads and they say the same thing again and again. So I think it's just giving them a fresh mindset of being like, great, it didn't work there, like, what do you think went wrong? And then putting together like a bulletproof game plan where we can guarantee if you do this step, this step, this step, you're most likely to obviously have success with, say, HydraFacial advertising.
I 100% agree with you as well. I think that's right. I think people forget the amount of extra work you need to do on that back end. Once somebody's literally put their hand up and responded to that, whatever the call to action is around the Facebook ad, it's just not as simple as kind of going, you know, sort of phoning them up and expecting them to come in and buy a HydraFacial or any treatment, to tell you the truth.
Exactly.
A lot more work behind it than that. And that's where clinics, as you say, they don't have the sophistication, the understanding, and maybe the testing, because this does take a lot of testing to do and refine, doesn't it, Richard? And ongoing learning as well, really. It's quite sophisticated when you're looking at it to, I suppose, maximize the conversion rate, really, ultimately at the end of the day.
So we tell every clinic we're working with, like, this is not an overnight success thing. Like, if you're signing up with our services or doing Facebook ads, you need to have the mindset that it's not, oh, we run there for 24 hours and we're getting tons of bookings flowing in. There is that testing process. And we say to every client, the first 7 to 10 days are just testing, 10, 20 ads, testing different audiences, copies, etc. Knowing that, great, most clinics probably running out for 7 days, just one advert. And that's when they say, oh, it didn't work. but there's so many different variables about Facebook. Like there's such a massive ecosystem that you need to test, and every demographic's a little bit different. So even though we're working with, say, 50+ clinics, every, like Liverpool's going to be a different demographic to, say, Central London, to, say, Yeovil. So when we're running ads as well, we never assume, oh, this is the one advert that works, this is the offer that works. It's all about coming with an open mind and saying, we're going to test this, get back to you with the results. Because again, all you want from a clinic is people coming through the door, you know?
Yeah, good. Okay. So I suppose, I mean, one of the good things about HydraFacial is that it's mass market, and it's quite an easy thing for people to buy, because it's like, you know, no pain, no downtime. It's a nice kind of price point or whatever.
Yeah.
Of course, for facial clinics, and especially the more sophisticated ones, they're really looking at trying to bring on a client, hopefully for life. And there's a certain spend around that. So, you know, the aim of the game really is to try and get people in who are going to hopefully have one every month. So that's £1,000 plus a year spend. So as you say, there's a difference between bringing someone in on like a Groupon type deal offer, you know, who'll come in for a HydraFacial and then that's it. You're never going to see them again. And then attracting those high quality clients. So with HydraFacial, how do you try and position it when you're looking at advertising to try and attract in and bring out those kind of higher quality clients?
Great question. So before, we always ask our clients, like, what is your dream kind of clientele? Again, every clinic, some want to attract the younger crowd, some want like the 40+ with that disposable income. So it's really down to their goals, and then we put like kind of a customer avatar roadmap towards that. But obviously there's two ways to kind of get people in. There's like a crazy discount to hook people in, or there's something called value stacking, which is not discounting it, but saying, if you come for a HydraFacial, this one works the best. We'll give you the platinum HydraFacial, plus this is everything that's included, the 4 steps. Plus, if you come in, you get this, for a total value of, say, £400, but you get it for 180. And it's really mapping out, right, when I have a consultation, what do I actually do? What is the patient journey? And saying, great, they get a consultation, this is worth around £50. Then we give them a skin analysis, and actually we do that as a separate service, but we're giving it to them for free, but we actually charge £25, and mapping it out that way. So we've got like a total figure. So we're not discounting them, but we're saying this is the value we provide as a top clinic, and this is why you should come to me, rather than 80% of our HydraFacial Black Friday Christmas offer, which can still attract really good people, like it has worked in the past. But you're still going to get more of those, oh, I'm here for a one-off, oh, I'm not too keen, let me think about it, and then you never see Susie again. It just goes back to a house and goes to another clinic. Yeah,
brilliant. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, and that's it. It's this how do you add value that doesn't totally destroy your bottom line and bring in the, you know, the price conscious shopper that isn't really ever going to buy a package. So
exactly.
So that's interesting as well, because obviously with HydraFacial we deal with obviously a lot of very existing clinics, but also it kind of seems to be one of those things now that anyone coming new into the business, it's kind of one of those little tick lists. Yeah, I think I need a HydraFacial as part and parcel of my offering. And obviously with those, when they don't have a database, it's a lot more difficult for them to, well, they can't do internal marketing or whatever. So but what type of clinics do you actually work with HydraFacial, with Facebook advertising?
Yeah, so HydraFacial, it does tend to be the little bit more established clinics that kind of are coming to us anyway. And we work with all types of clinics, but we even say to brand new clinics, before you kind of do like your lead generation, you still need to have your fundamentals sorted. So like we will even turn down, like we turn down a lot of clinics, or like, we can definitely help you, but the best fit for you right now is do this to kind of build your foundations. So then when we do run your ads, you've got all of your systems in place, and it's not just more stress. And then obviously the more established ones, sometimes they're fully booked on the HydraFacial, and then we'd obviously work with other treatments, or like there is a big mix. But I'd say we try to work with a little bit more established who kind of have been running for, say, a year or so. And then we kind of help them with building their foundations of the business and actually thinking, what is the lifetime value of this HydraFacial client? What do you do once they come in? Are you upselling them this? If they're not suitable for this treatment, what do you downsell them to, cross-sell them to? So it's more than just we generate them leads. It's actually diving into their business and kind of being like a mini consultant inside to maximize, obviously, the conversions they're getting from all the inquiries.
Excellent. And again, you know, whatever advertising you do or advertising you do, the key thing, as you said there as well, is understanding your lifetime customer value.
Yes.
And obviously with HydraFacial, potentially it's quite high. And those people, I've known a number of clinics where they bring them on and they have more than £1,000 plus, especially when you add in other things like skincare and maybe cross sales with injectables, etc. And then you roll them over the next year, and the next year the lifetime value can be actually huge.
Really
HydraFacial. So the amount that you can actually spend to bring in that type of customer is quite a lot. Correct. But obviously part of this is really pinning that down with people, isn't it, and understanding roughly what that lifetime customer is, and for them to understand, I suppose, how much they can spend to bring that customer. But also there's a reality of roughly on average what people do spend. I know that's very difficult, Richard, because it varies on the area and the type of clinic or whatever, but give me a rough idea of a typical cost per customer rather than lead.
Yeah, so if I work down, so average, say lead, I know we don't want to talk about leads, but leads coming in with our system, the average conversion rate is around 35 to 40% of leads come in will book and become, which is really, really high for online advertising.
That's really high. Yeah.
So obviously it might be lower, it could be higher. We've had clinics doing 70% on HydraFacial, doing incredible. But we kind of say 33, so 1 out of 3 leads will book. And we pretty much reverse engineer it and say, great. So that means if you want to get 1 patient a day, we need 3 leads. Each lead on average, it does really vary, say £15 a lead for, say, a really high quality HydraFacial lead with no discount. So £45 to acquire a customer, but they're already spending 135 for their platinum HydraFacial anyway. So really you got 3x ROI, even if they never buy again. And then it's rare that someone will come in for a no discount offer and not really, at least buy some product skincares, get on that subscription package. But we tend to work out a cost per lead and then say average is 1 out of 3 leads will book that way. So even if they're saying acquiring a client for £80 and the HydraFacial is 120, although the profit margin, it may say they break even due to their profits and everything. If they're confident in their offer, that is literally a money-making machine. But you need to have that mindset of, great, it may not be an instant return straight away, but in a month or 2, it's going to catch up and it's going to be a snowball effect where like the leads from month 1 are now paying really good at month 3, and then the leads from month 2 or month 4, and it's kind of just sticking with it and having that game plan. So you don't panic and be like, gosh, I've been running these ads for a month, I'm only breaking even. Whereas actually, if you look in the long term with your roadmap, you can kind of see, okay, I can relax a little bit. Everything's fine. I just need to kind of stick with it and let the momentum kind of keep flowing there.
And I agree with that. I think part of this is really understanding how numbers wash through in your business and really having that, I suppose, the eye on the ball of what that lifetime value is for the customer.
Correct.
And for me, if you've got a customer here that's going to spend £1,000 plus over a year, and the numbers in terms of looking at the leads and how you get to that customer, because part of that, of course, is what happens within the clinic, as you know. I mean, you can't do anything about that. Correct. That's how that customer's handled, how they're educated when they come in having that first treatment, the kind of packages and offers that they offer them, whether they have a go cardless system set up to make that purchase easier instead of asking for a 3-figure sum up. There's lots of variables there. But the clinics that really get this, is again, you can look here and going, actually, this is a relatively simple money-making machine and very cost-effective way of bringing people in who are going to, really add to my bottom line. As long as I'm realistic when I'm starting this off, it's going to take a month or so to kind of get to that level.
Yeah, I think it's having confidence in yourself as well, which is a big thing. Like some people know, they know we can guarantee X amount of leads conversions for them, but there's still, I guess, sometimes a doubt if they're brand new to say HydraFacial. They've got no past data of, it's harder for us to say, great, what's your typical conversion rate with the HydraFacial? Because they're like brand new and a bit like, oh gosh, I've never done the HydraFacial. So we kind of work with them as well. And no, not every lead is going to be a buyer, or say, even if they're a high quality booking, sometimes people don't book straight away for whatever reason. So we even train our clinics on how to follow up with value to the people who book and have their first treatment, but don't buy a package. And we've seen the conversion rate super, super high for when you follow up with value, because not many clinics are doing a check, like after they have a HydraFacial, a 24-hour phone call, takes 2 minutes, and say, hey, just wanted to check how your skin's doing. Like, how are you noticing these effects? And that's such a simple thing like that. Even if they weren't thinking the package, like, gosh, these people actually care. It's not just a machine. These are actually a system, and you can automate all of that. And we basically do a 10-day check-in, like every other day, checking in. Day 4 of your HydraFacial, you should be noticing glowing skin, boom, boom, boom. How can we best serve you?
So you're even automating that follow-up, what I'll call onboarding process, isn't it, really?
Correct, yeah.
So how do you practically do that? Do you have a system that basically you build that in and it picks something through to someone that says do this?
Correct.
Or okay.
So we try and automate it as much as possible, but obviously we need a personal touch as well. So on our system, they can basically drag an inquiry to say attended appointment but didn't purchase package. And that's then going to put them down a whole separate channel of saying, because it's going to be different. Say if they were a no-show, it wouldn't make sense to be. It's been 3 days since your HydraFacial and they didn't even turn up to the appointment. So we try and make it personal, but we do say that follow-up process, the money is in the follow-up. If you've got leads, if you've got clients coming through, and I feel like most people, even if you've got HydraFacial, they don't maximize the current database they have. So with our system, it's not about just giving them leads and being like, oh, that person didn't book, let's just get another lead through. It's about what can we do with the people who you've already paid to acquire. It's going to cost you nothing to send an email. It's just thinking outside the box, making it personal. Because again, not many clinics are doing that little follow-ups, doing the extra little touches. And it does cost them no time, like we do it all for them. So it's kind of a no excuses not to get it done.
Which is excellent, because at the end of the day, you're helping to coach them really about the kind of stuff they should be doing outside of what you're working on them with Facebook anyway, for anything else that they've got coming in. I mean, all of that stuff is a customer experience really at the end of the day, and making sure that people feel valued and build that relationship. So yeah, that's brilliant. So just kind of pull that together, and I suppose what do you think are the key fundamentals to any Facebook advertising campaign?
So I think there's 3 kind of elements to like a successful, because if you're running a Facebook ads campaign and it's not working, there's either 3 reasons why it's not. So it's nice and simple. So it's either your hook, the story that you're telling, or the offer. So if a campaign's not working for like our clients, we'd be like, great, is the hook not strong enough? And that would be the first line on the Facebook ad. We've got less than a second, they're scrolling on the toilet on their phone to capture their attention and make them stop. So it's thinking, gosh, what headline, catchy thing, bold statement can we say to make people like, oh, did they really say that? Was this da da da? So that's the hook. The story is kind of what makes your clinic unique to everyone else. So it could be like a lot of our clients do, let's say Botox, and they've got stories about, gosh, this is where I started this treatment. This is why I'm doing this. Or HydraFacial, I had really bad acne and I noticed this treatment did this, boom, boom, boom. Or a patient story. And then the offer. So even if you're not doing a discount, is there a clear call to action saying, it's not just a story and then they're like, oh, nice story, then they carry on scrolling. What is going to make them be like, claim this offer today and you'll get this. So if you've got all 3, a strong hook, story, and an offer, like your Facebook ads will work incredibly well. But if they're not performing, I would just do some split testing and say, change the story, or story the middle one, keep the hook and the offer the same, and notice if anything. It's kind of like a little nerdy little bit there, which I love. But that's the main 3 elements, kind of on like a 10,000 foot basis. Obviously, diving deeper, there's so many different changes on Facebook every day, but it's pointless to talk about them now because tomorrow they could be completely different. So it's about just the fundamentals of it all.
Yeah. Which is why, I think Facebook is like part science, part art. But as you say, it does change regularly anyway. And I think unless someone has realistically the time to really go through those steps that you've got there and really analyze it, and also understand, the tweaks that they need to make in order to really make it work effectively, I think it's incredibly difficult for any one individual who's not a specialist in this to really maximize that.
Yeah, and we always say like what their time is worth as well. It's like if you're a top clinician, like, do you really want to be spending time on this? Whereas you could be utilizing and training your staff better, which is going to make your revenue way higher. You could be working on this, or even spending time with your family, right? Rather than being behind a computer on Facebook, where most people get banned because they don't actually follow it, and then their account is literally banned forever. So it's kind of just looking at what is my time worth? Maybe some people enjoy it and like fair play. If you love it, then that's awesome. Like, that's really good. But most clinicians haven't too much on their plate anyway, that it's just going to be, and spending 3 hours a day doing Facebook ads, it doesn't sound like the most fun.
No, and you're right. I think people really need to, look at well, in essence, I know what we're getting here, Richard, is basically kind of looking and going, obviously you're charging for your service because otherwise you wouldn't be in business. And so for a lot of people, they're going, well, if I'm paying this for Rich to do this, could I do this myself and save that money, ultimately at the end of the day. And I think realistically, you're right, unless they really understand what their hourly rate is, which of course, if they're if they're fully fledged practitioner, whatever, really high. Certainly a lot more than yours. But of course, the other way is that you'll utilize your skill and expertise of knowledge and history and experience, kind of crunch all that down to make sure that this is as effective as possible. And they're starting from like an area with no knowledge and expertise, so it's going to take them far longer to get a campaign up and running that's going to run properly.
Yeah,
it will be for someone like yourself. So just looking at that and the length of time, I suppose, as well, we touched on it a little bit earlier. In fact, you did speak about an example of some customers that you had in the past who've kind of come in after a week, closed the campaign down, even though you've told them that actually you've got to, you realistically, you're not going to achieve something in a week. So how quickly, roughly, if you're looking at working with you, how quickly can you achieve some tangible results with Facebook advertising?
Yeah, so there are some clinics who within 24 hours have made like $1,000 cash, but we always say the first 7 to 10 days, obviously expect you'll get bookings coming through, but the first 7 to 10 days are kind of testing, right? It's brand new offer, brand new demographic. You're learning the system. So you're not going to get to that 40% conversion rate. Some people do straight away. It's kind of a process to get to that number. So we normally say it's like a 2 to 3 month minimum commitment with our system, because we're not looking for people who are like, oh, I want to spend a month for this. I'm going to get fully booked and then I'm done for the year. But that's more of like a mindset issue for clients we're signing. So we know they're not kind of in it for a quick cash. They're kind of out the door. Whereas I think you can get bookings within 10 days tangibly, like average amount of bookings in 10 days, probably like 4 or 5 high quality people coming through. And that's around like 2 to 3 leads a day. So 1 booking every day, pretty much. But it does depend on loads of different variables. But I always say to every client, like, have this mindset of, it's like The Slight Edge, we call it, which is an awesome book. I recommend every clinic to read it, by Jeff Olson. And it's basically saying the things that are easy to do and easy not to do. So it's easy to call the leads, but it's also easy not to, and be like, you know what, I'll call them after lunch. It's easy to reply to this comment, but it's also easy, you know what, it doesn't really make a difference. And it's all those slight little actions that kind of pulled you onto the curve to success. But if you're not doing them, you don't notice it at first. And you're like, oh, this is fine now. It doesn't matter if I call that lead tomorrow. But then slowly your results drop. And we train all our clients on that. So it's about doing the things that are easy to do, but easy not to do. And that's just a fundamental in life, I guess, isn't it? Even if you're working out, right? After 6 months, you won't see results maybe. But then there's a tipping point of like, gosh, people are complimenting me on my body. This is great. But at first, if you're eating that donut a day, a donut's not going to kill you straight away. But it's that slight edge downwards that actually, after a while, doing the things wrong or delaying it kind of messes you up. And the same with Facebook ads.
Well, it's instilling the right kind of business habit. It's a habit, isn't it? It's either a habit or either, put that in and do it always, or procrastinate or put it off and don't. And, and you're right. Those are the differences between the people that build very successful businesses and have a business that serves them, rather than we were discussing earlier as well, having something where they have to serve the business, because none of this is right and they're not getting the right money out of it. It's taking more time than they ever envisaged when they set it up, and all those kind of things. So excellent. Well, thank you very much, Richard. That's been really useful and insightful. And also the other thing, I suppose as well, if anyone wants to contact you, because by the sounds of this is very much a case of you kind of like, you have a two-way conversation around whether you can really realistically help these people or not, rather than just going, we'll take any client on board and kind of, work with you. So if somebody wants to get in touch with you, what kind of process do you go through?
So they go to our website, they click on, normally it's like the get a price button, it will put them through an application. And then from there, it will tell them if they're approved to work with us or not, depending on their revenue, their goals, staff members, etc., etc. From there, they normally book a 15-minute call with myself. So I personally take them because I love speaking with clinic owners. And 15 minutes, no, there's zero selling on it. It's just great. What have you done in the past? What do you want from us? Like, what are your expectations for us? And kind of educating them on that process. If they're a good fit, we send them tons of information, an hour video to watch again, to kind of learn more about us. Because again, we want them to be fully educated on us before signing up. We never take on someone if they're like, oh, I just saw you online, I just want to sign up, I don't know anything about you. Because I want them to make the right decision for their business. And after that, we hop on a demo call, show them live results. And then at the end, if they want to sign up, great. But even if they don't, they've got so much free education. They literally know our whole process, that even if they don't sign up, they've left with value. And that's kind of what we're about, rather than speaking for 5 minutes, like, we can definitely help you. Here's an invoice. But actually, if you don't know anything about the business, how can you, even if you're the best marketer in the world, it's impossible. It's not ethical for us to be like, yeah, we can help you. Because again, we do reject around 40-ish% of clinics who approach us. Wow. Because we don't want to be those people who, yeah, sign up with us, you're with us for a month, then you hate us. Yeah. We're looking for those serious people. So yeah, it's quite a fun process. It's educational for them as well.
I love that. I know that's the way I love. That's why I really like what you do, because that kind of resonates with me. That to me is the right way to do business. And that's the way. That's why I know you're coming in February the 5th.
Yes, loving it.
Soon, actually, yeah. Smart ideas. That's in St Albans as well. So you'll be there and you'll be talking on this, and also you'll be able to, I'm sure, give a bit of personal one-on-one advice for people if they want around, Facebook ads, either what they're doing themselves or whether or not you can help them with particular campaigns around, treatments and products that they're offering. So thanks again, Richard.
No, thank you.
It'd be a great Christmas, and I'll see you in the new year.
No, thank you, and I appreciate it.
Cheers, Richard. Thank you. Bye.